Welcome to the Powered by Age-Friendly City Zoomcast reality-style podcast.
We are movers and shakers, shaking up the old notion of silent, helpless, invisible seniors.
This is a new series of podcasts funded by the City of Vancouver and the 411 Senior Center Society.
As PBA AFC ambassadors, we
raise awareness,
share our original stories and poems,
inform, advocate, and involve seniors in discussing important social issues.
In short, these podcasts will help us,
you, in creating an age-friendly city for Vancouver today,
tomorrow the world.
You can hear us everywhere podcasts are heard.
Hello.
Hello. Oh, good. Everyone can talk who wants to talk. Okay, what I'm going to ask each person to do is, introduce yourself. Just say, who you are, and then we have other people that are going to be joining.
I'm Gail Harwood. You've seen me before. Nice to see everybody.
Charlotte to the 411, so I had to get involved. Yeah. So perfect timing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pat?
Hi, I'm Pat, and I'm with Quirky, which is the Queer Imaging and Writing Collective for Elders, and River, who's I think volunteers down at 411. She's part of our group too. So I came for the podcast meeting we had a little while ago.
Nice.
Okay.
I live in the East Van.
Yeah.
Okay. And you all are involved in doing an ebook?
Yeah, we are. Actually, we just got our 7th anthology published, and it's on ebook as well as print or I don't know if it's audio yet. Yeah, but if anyone's interested, I just sent out something on our Facebook page which gives all the details, or else I could send it to someone.
And
all right.
the Facebook page is called Quirky.
Yeah, and they shouldn't have done this, but it's QUIRK-E. QUIRK-E. Yeah.
Oh, E. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna try on Facebook. I'll try and get on there. Yeah.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Mariko, Program Coordinator at 411. Thank you very much to invite me here.
Yeah, we're starting this exciting adventure of continuing our Thursday get-together and making some plans for how we can use Zoom to record podcasts. 2 days ago, I tested it with someone else that we're working on for the radio because we have to make our own shows from home. And of all the different things they showed us, recording through Zoom had the best audio. So this is our maiden voyage of our podcast meeting. Okay, we're just introducing ourselves. So Judith, you want to introduce yourself?
Thanks. I'm Judith Rainey, and I'm with 411 Seniors and also South Granville Senior Center.
Nice to meet
wonderful. And one of the things, since people from different groups are on, maybe you can email other people within the group to let them know, because some people, they aren't familiar with the format, or if I call them and my name comes up as anonymous, they aren't answering the phone. So if you can just let other people know and share the invitation that you got through the calendar, then we can include them. And now
can I interrupt? So if I just forward the email with the invitation on it?
Yes, because it has the meeting ID.
They'll be able to access.
Yes.
Okay.
Nefertiti.
Yes. Hello. Hello, Sister C.
Hello.
And everybody. Wonderful. I'm sorry that I don't have camera, but I'm glad to hear all of you for sure.
I love your name, Nefertiti.
Thank you. Thank my parents for that one.
Oh yeah, that's very cool. Yeah.
Nefertiti is joining us from another group I belong to, which is Poetic Justice. They meet on Sunday afternoons, and so a couple of other people from that group who want to join us with the podcasters group may be joining this call.
Great.
Okay, one of the things that we have been asked to do is to answer some questions that are going into the, oh, Luke, I don't know, somehow I have to find out how not to have to invite people into the meeting. Hi, Luke. Are you there?
Yeah, there he is.
Hi, Luke. We just finished introducing ourselves. You want to tell people who you are?
You got it?
Yeah, you're all in like a 3x3
Right.
grid.
The other way
Yes.
you go.
That's right.
Okay, I'm Luke. I've met most of you before, I believe, and I'm helping with the tech side of things with the podcast and with 411.
We have an exciting announcement from Luke. There is a program that we're using called Video Ask, and it's going to enable us to answer some questions that may be things that are part of our podcast or things that would be ideas to share with other people. So would you like to explain that, Luke?
Yeah, so basically, Video Ask is a pretty simple tool that you can use to record a video of a question or a topic that you want to discuss, and then upload that, share a link with someone that you want to ask the question to, and then on their end, they can respond to it via video or via audio only or via text. And it's really simple to use, and you don't have to sign up for any accounts or logins or passwords or anything like that.
What's it called?
The name of the system is called Video Ask, but the way it would be shared with everyone is just using a simple web link.
Do I have to click share screen in order for you to show it?
Yeah, it could. Well, I shared a link with you guys in the chat there. I'm not sure if you can see that.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
So if you click on that link, you can get a sense for what it looks like.
Okay, what the heck happened to my chat? Here we are. Ah, yeah, I got it, Luke. Yeah, there you are. Yeah.
I'm so sorry because of the phone coming in and then cut it off. Or my internet just shut off. So sorry.
There. Oh, yeah, I see it.
No worries.
Oh,
There we are.
look. Oh, hi. How are you?
Okay.
How you doing?
Okay, let's
Oh,
see.
yes.
This is the link. So do I need to click it now? Can we see it now, or would they have to go to that link afterwards?
I mean, I guess we could share my screen real quick.
Okay.
Can you guys see my screen there?
We
Yeah.
see
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So, okay, so this was just kind of a demo page that I set up on the 411 site. But basically how it looks is you have your recorded question here on the left-hand side. And then, if I hit play right now, it's going to play my video.
For some reason I can't scroll. Anyway, all I see, Luke, is your lovely face on my left-hand side. I can't scroll up and down. Anyway,
Oh, you can't see my web browser?
I can see your web browser. I can see everything. I see your face. I see us on the side.
Yep.
You said on the left-hand side, so, all I see is your face.
Yes, that's a demonstration of what's on the screen. When you're using that program, that's what you'll see.
Yeah, I understand. Okay.
Okay.
So now what is it? How would you like to answer? Video, audio, text? So what do you want us to do?
Well, in this instance, not anything right now, but it's just an example of how if someone wants to respond to a question, they have 3 different ways that they can respond to it. So if someone wants to participate, but they don't want to be on camera, or even if they don't like the sound of their own voice, they can do text or audio.
Yeah, so Luke, if we want to video ask somebody, can we just, I noticed that you're coming to us from podcasting at 411 Seniors. Could I just throw that in my browser and then get into Video Ask that way, or do I just put Video Ask in my browser and then I'll get to it?
No. So Video Ask is just the name of the software. So it's kind of like Zoom or,
Right.
Hangouts.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to answer these questions right now,
Uh-huh.
all you'd have to do is go type in the URL, or in this case, 411/podcast.
Yeah, okay.
And then if you wanted to record a video, all you need is to make sure that your phone or your computer has a camera on it.
Yeah.
That's really the only requirement.
Yeah.
Then after you have the video, so use the phone, and then how to load it to here.
Okay.
So you just click video.
Yep.
Okay.
Can you do examples? Yeah.
So you click video, and then it
Yes.
says
Okay.
411 wants to access your microphone and your camera. So you click allow,
Yeah. Okay, here we are.
and then that's what it
Where's
looks like.
you? Oh.
Mhm.
And then you
So
hit
then you just-
record.
Huh? You need
So
to
right-
record.
I just hit record there. So now it's recording what I'm saying right now.
Where's the record button?
Just that big one there.
And
Oh,
there was
in
a
the
3,
middle.
2, 1.
Okay.
There was a countdown. 3, 2, 1, so that you have time before you start talking.
Ah, okay. And then maybe here, get lady. Beautiful.
Then if you're ready to
No
send, you hit yes.
Oh. Before you go, please the contact detail.
Okay.
Can get back to you.
It's-
Oh,
okay.
okay. Wow,
Right.
interesting. What's this system?
It's called Video Ask.
Wow.
So as I understand, we're going to be setting it up on AF's Age-Friendly City PB. Anyhow,
I
PB,
know.
powered by Age-Friendly City is going to have a site like that as well. So then right now you would access it through the 411 seniors one, but there will be
Right.
one for our podcast group.
Yeah. And we access that by 411/podcast, yeah?
No, it'll be powered by AJFC.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay, that one.
But Luke is in the process of setting that up.
Okay. He can just email it to us and then we can do it.
Yep.
That'll make it very easy.
Okay, now there's some questions, and right now there were some questions that we were asked to answer by a group that's working on the city plan. They had a cafe-style Zoom meeting, and there were too many on it for me to get on. So she sent me the questions, and I laid them down. Hold on a second.
Which city is this?
City of Vancouver.
Thank you. Greater Vancouver.
You are in Vancouver? Francie?
I'm
Where are
in
you?
Westminster, Greater Vancouver.
Hooray.
And Gail, are you out of the city now?
No, I'm in the city.
Oh.
Hi.
No, don't worry.
This way.
My phone number is my old Powell River number.
Just
and
the
I
one
never
box?
bothered to change it. It's
Okay.
such a nice number. So I'm in Vancouver for good.
Sure.
Okay, so
I'll
the
have to put
first-
this phone down.
The first question was, what would it take for you to feel safe in
Oh, thank you
Vancouver?
very much. I'm glad you're taking the boxes because it's really.
What would it take for you to feel safe in Vancouver? So if you answer that question, say your name first and then your answer to what would it take for you to feel safe in Vancouver?
I feel safe.
Right now, i.e. pandemic or generally?
Generally.
Generally. Ah.
I'm safe. I feel safe.
Francie here. I'm happy about you having free parking right now, but I'm not driving that far.
What about you, Sylvie? What would make you feel safe, or what makes you feel safe in Vancouver?
I do feel safe in Vancouver. I do, for the most part. there's certain places I'm not going to walk around in the middle of the night, but I do feel safe here. So anything extra to be done to make me feel safer? Maybe more lighting on side streets. I live in the West End, and the side streets along Cardero, Bidwell, they're beautiful streets, especially at this time of year. They're beautiful and they're filled with birds, but not very well lit sometimes. So that would be something, I guess. Yeah. Is that kind of thing you mean?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
And I think, they wanted to know, since we are doing kind of the perspective from that word we're not using, seniors, people of age, the reservoirs of knowledge, from our perspective. From mine, one thing would be to have the lights longer. Some streets, it starts at 13 and it's a double street. So I'm afraid to run out. I've seen people actually run, whereas some of the others are 24 seconds. So it would really be good to have them consistent and have them closer to 24 seconds than to 13, because not everybody, some people, if they see you still in the walk, they'll stop, but some people don't. And so that would be a safety issue for me.
Right.
Anyone else? Another question was about culture and art. What things would you like to see that would be more, reflect more culture and art?
Well, I think the city's doing a good job right now. I mean, there's a lot of focus on art, and culture. I've been putting on events for 30-something years, and I'm just amazed at what I see now in the city. Not only visually, but grants that are being given out to all sorts of groups, from small groups right up to large art organizations. So I'm sure there's always more that can be done there, but I'm really impressed with the city of Vancouver.
Yeah,
yeah,
I agree with you. I don't know from the grants perspective what the money situation is like. There's never enough, I guess, for the arts, but in terms of access, I mean, through the library, there are loads of things you can, readings, insight, things happening at the library. I think even the sort of visual stuff in the West End, the bits of sculpture and that kind of thing. I think there's loads of stuff, and there's loads of free stuff to do too. It's a question of just finding out and whatever your interest is. I mean, even the fact of doing murals on back lanes and down back lanes in certain parts of the city. It's magic. It really is. So yeah. I think they're doing a good job, but there's always room for more money, I guess, to be.
But what do you think about the hours? Like, there were some wonderful things that were being offered at Emily Carr. Right at the weekend, the city started to shut down. And I was looking out the window from 411 City Center, and Leslie was trying to show me how to get over to it. And she said you'd have to walk a long ways. Well, it was raining. So I really felt the shuttles, that maybe having shuttles that leave from a place like one of the senior centers or someplace, so that people could get to these art places where you have to walk a long ways. I don't know, what does anybody else think? Has anyone tried to go to Emily Carr?
Yeah, actually I've got some information on that. I just wanted to talk, I'm sorry, I was eating my protein snack. But in terms of safety, in normal times, I ride the public transit a lot, and I'm on the street, and I think that not that I want heavy police presence, but there's some ignorant things that happen on the street, and so I think that people should be encouraged to look out for each other, and if you see something, say something. Mm-hmm. Especially on transit, just some dreadful stuff, and I've said things that trying to straighten people out from their attitudes that are hurtful, right? And if you see somebody actually breaking the law, I'm on my cell phone. I don't care. Don't be afraid to report, but stay out of harm's way. That's the safety part. For the arts part, actually, to get down to from the senior center, all that's required is to get the number 3 Main Street and get down to 2nd Avenue, and you catch the 84. And that goes right by Emily Carr, goes up Great North Wing where Emily Carr is.
I see. Well, you know, people told me there wasn't a bus, that I'd have to walk a long way, and I really wanted to go to something, but it was raining, and I thought my back is gonna creak up in the rain. So
yeah, they didn't know the transit system. Yeah.
Well, even, you know, on that little thing where doesn't always tell you about some of those buses, because when I looked at where didn't show, you know, that there was a bus connecting to was it 19?
Yeah. That's the Stanley Park bus.
Yeah.
That goes through Stanley Park, yeah.
So maybe one thing that we might be able to do from the different community centers is send something to to indicate, you know, that it would be good if they can mark those other smaller routes, or routes that might be particularly accessible for older people, or, you know, just people that can't walk a long ways.
And also too, we could, my little devious mind is working here, that I think the idea of shuttles from the senior centers would be fabulous. And I think that might be pots of money for that, and tucked up in various places in terms of foundations, or whether you have to hunt for money. Maybe that's poor Leslie, she's overworked as it is, but you know what I mean. You hunt around for that, and every time, or maybe the arts organization themselves could provide a shuttle service, or you know, there used to be the community buses that go on these little routes, like like the little putt buses that go along Davie Street and then up Pacific Boulevard.
Yes.
So that's also. So the casinos have shuttle buses. You know, they make sure that they drop people off, you know, pick up people and drop them. Kind of like the same thing that the red bus, it stops at various places in the city, and then they go by every half hour. So these are just some ideas, but you have to find the money and the staff for that.
Well, but you know, as we talked about podcast topics, that might be a thing that, you know, we might have people from roving reporters or different people. Oh, love it. They've taken away the 40-minute time limit. A gift from Zoom as we speak. But that would make a good pod topic, you know, from different people's perspective, and then feeding that, you know, sending that to the art centers will let them know that this is something of interest and value.
Yeah, I think
I just like to say, excuse me, I'm just going to check out. I don't see that ability here to let you know, but I'm just going to have some lunch, and I'll be back.
Okay, thanks, Francie. Sylvie, you were going to say something?
Yeah, I think another deterrent to people, to seniors attending events, and especially if they have to take transit, etc., is oftentimes they feel they need to go alone. And so in our building, before we were all incarcerated here, we set up a kind of a buddy system, or at least we were in the throes of setting up a buddy system, where if something was going on in the neighborhood, like Tales of the West End happening at JJ Bean down the street, we would let others in the building know. We have a Google thing in the building. I'm going. If you would like to come along, meet me in the lobby type thing at 6 o'clock, and we can go together. And just to encourage people who would not go otherwise to go to these things, you know, if they knew somebody that they knew was going, right?
I think that would be great. And then, you know, that might be some kind of way that we could make that through our podcast or through the Ask video, because there've been some things I really wanted to go to, but I didn't want to go by myself.
Exactly.
So I missed them because, you know, there's some shows that are 8:30 or they're 9:30, and trying to find another person that will even go out at 8:30. So that's a great idea, to have a way that people could sign up and have a meeting point. Or if we could get one of the bus services, if there were 3 different senior centers, if we could stop, if you know, there's 6 people here, 4 there, 3 there, that it could stop at those places and pick people up.
Yes.
That's a business opportunity. uh, okay, welcome, Adele. Adele is now one of my co-hosts for my Speak Up show, and we were experimenting the other day with doing the radio show as a Zoom that we could upload into the system. But she is also a filmmaker, and just introduce yourself, Adele.
Hi, everybody. My name is Adela Rope. I'm a sorry, maybe I'm not being loud. I'm a filmmaker and a human rights activist with Amnesty International, and a writer and poet. I don't say those two things the same thing because they're a little different. And yeah, so I've just been working on ways to support my community during the COVID-19 crisis and finding ways to bring the voices forward and to have just discussions like we are now. But yeah, I'm just trying to be a resource and a supportive person in the community. So that's why I'm here.
Thank you.
Okay. And she's one of the people that have moved forward with creating art and putting it on YouTube. Sometimes when people create a film, they say don't put it on YouTube because then it can't be accepted by the festivals. But she has a beautiful documentary film that pays tribute to her mother, and it's on YouTube, and she's won 2 awards, one of them being Vancouver Women in Film, Canadian Women in Film.
Yeah, the Vancouver International Women in Film Festival, as well as the Vancouver Film Festival.
And you want to share the title so people could look it up on their YouTube?
So the film is called Who Am I? And then if you just put my name, ADHELAROP, then you can find it easier.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, could you spell that again? I didn't quite get that.
A
Sorry,
like,
Adele.
A like apple.
Yeah.
Right on the screen.
David. H like horse, E like elephant, L like love, first name, last name, A like apple, R like Romeo, O like Oscar, and P like Peter. So Adela Rope, yeah.
Yeah, the print is a little small for me. Yeah. Thank you so much, Adele. I appreciate that.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, my film is available online. You can watch it. It's free it's about 20, it's a short docu, so it's like about 20 minutes. Yeah. But yeah, so it's pretty much just my mom was a child soldier in South Sudan during the Second Civil War. So it's just like looking into her story a little bit and how her past has affected me in finding my identity, and how I'm now kind of using those stories to propel me forward in the stories that I'm telling.
Yeah, and that connects to something that we have talked about doing with our podcast series, which is people's stories. So she started with the story of writing poetry, then she made a film. Adele went and made a film without going to film school. She's a wonderful resource. She speaks 6 languages. But to be of encouragement to those of you that are working on stories, we want to look at a way that we can use these Zoom meetings to record the story. We were going to be recording them in the studio before, but now Luke has the technology to, if we record a story during our Zoom meetings, he's able to edit it and put it into what's necessary for us to post it to as a podcast.
You were just frozen for quite a while. I couldn't hear anything.
Oh.
Did others? Well, maybe it's just me. I don't know.
We hear okay.
Yeah, I could hear.
You heard everything Charlotte had to say. Okay, well then it must be me. I don't know.
Yeah, the thing gets a little wonky. I've been on some Zoom calls where it freezes, or it freezes on different people's phones.
I know, yeah.
Zoom and the airways are saying, "What are you doing? Why are you people burdening me?"
No, Zoom is too busy now, so everybody uses Zoom, so it's too busy.
Yeah. One of the things that we wanted to note, and maybe we could just go, down and across, is if you have something that you have written that you might feel like by next week you would want to share, we're looking at things that would be 3 to 8 minutes, because these will be able to fit into those, how we talked about containers for our shows. So maybe we'll just start with you, Gail. Do you have any particular thing?
Yeah, there's I might read one of my poems.
Okay.
Or I got a couple of things that I have to practice on. Tentatively, I might be able to do. I'm just medical stuff has been happening and students have been happening, and I just get tired and I fall asleep. So I just take the nap. So yeah, hopefully things will loosen up and I'd be able to devote myself to this. It takes the energy, right?
Yeah, but at least a poem, okay?
Yeah, sure. Okay, I can do something. All right. So that's to be presented next week.
Yes.
Okay.
So during this meeting, the Zoom next week for this?
Yes, we're looking at just continuing. We had already set aside Thursday at 1. So
All right.
yeah, each Thursday at 1 we'll be getting together until we can get together. Sylvie, what about you?
Yeah, I actually had found a little story written by a friend of mine. I will see if she can join us next time and read it. It's actually it's a bit little longer though. It's about seven minutes. Is that okay?
Yeah, it's within the 8 minutes.
Yeah, it's good. It's the characters are old people, or however you like to describe us, and it's a little magical realism. And it's about a woman who lives by herself. So I thought it was quite appropriate, actually, for this time, the time that we're in. So, so there's that. Yeah, I will ask her if she would be interested in doing that.
Okay.
And following up on Adele's, I'm really interested in identity, sort of, and background, origin, and identity. I come from England myself. I come from a coal mining village in the northeast of England, where we have our own language. And I've written a little bit in dialect, so I don't know how accessible that would be to a lot of people. It's difficult to understand, but I have a couple of short poems that you could give it a try. If you understand what I'm saying, then
I found a way to do
practice,
that.
right?
You could do like, for example, I did this with one of my poems where I had some chunks in Dinka and some chunks in English, and it's kind of like did a call and like you're communicating with the, so it's like you could say one thing and say something different. So you could always like speak the translations, and that could be a poem. So like
right, yes,
if you do a spoken word,
yes.
It could be a way to make it more easy and accessible for people to understand, like, which is the nice part about audio.
Yes.
The thing is that like you can make any poem, and you can have one poem in 2 languages and speak them at the same time, and it would not like
wild. I've heard stuff like that. It's really, really wild. Yeah, lots of good ideas. Thank you. Yeah, I'll think about those. Yeah. So yeah, I can do something next week, short next week.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
That'll be great. Pat, what about you?
Well, what I was thinking is that probably I could read either mine and or someone else's short story or poetry in our new book, Together We Stand, that Quirky just published. There's a lot.
Great.
Yeah, I'd like to do that. And if I do someone else's, I will definitely ask their permission first, but I don't think that's a problem.
I'm going to show my book.
Can I ask, what is this? What are you, but like as a group, what are you guys, like, what are you guys?
Quirky stands for the Queer Imaging and Writing Collective for Elders, writing with an R and collective with a K. And we've been around for, some of us, for about 13 years as a group. And we've just published our 7th anthology.
Oh, wow.
And so, yeah, we got some nice reviews, and I got Bill Richardson, from CBC. Oh, yeah. He's reviewed it too, as well as other people in our community.
Are you guys everybody here is a part of the seniors podcasting?
Yeah, we're part of the Powered by Age-Friendly City podcast group.
Okay.
And we were meeting in person on Thursdays, so we just decided to continue having our Thursday meeting. And just because the building is shut down doesn't mean we have to shut down our podcast program.
That's amazing.
Nice, yeah.
Okay,
I'll
so
show you my book. This is my book.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lovely.
It's my book, the print book. Before it's a ebook, but now I ordered a print book, so this is my book.
Nice.
So is there something from within the book next week that you might want to share that's less than 8 minutes? Maybe
Sure.
tips
I
from
can
a
pick
particular section?
Right, I can find a certain session, a little bit story, and then relate to whatever the essence of the book. Okay?
Okay.
Sure. All right.
You have to hold it still a minute because there's a gloss on it, and it's a
Angle.
mindful
Mindful living series.
Yeah, here.
Okay.
Mindful Living series. This is first one. This is angle, okay? This is a series,
Yes,
but
yes,
this
you
is
can
the
see the
first
title.
book.
Mhm.
No, first book is here. Mindful
Okay.
eating. Mindful eating for vibrant living.
Okay.
The keys to better health for busy women. But this is a reverse.
Oh yeah,
it's
but
not
when
really
you
the
hold
same.
it up, it actually the camera turns it around because so we're seeing it in the, with where we can read it.
Oh, you can read that. So this
Yes.
is mindful eating for vibrant living. The key to better health for busy women like you guys. Play.
By the way, speaking of books, I might as well show mine. There we go.
Maddie's Dread.
Maddie's Dread. Oh.
And so, I'll just
wow.
Yeah.
And what is Maddie's Dread?
It is a novel. It's a historical novel about what happened after the end of the Civil War, the Chimurenga in Zimbabwe. And it says here, it explains why I wrote it.
Oh, you lived and worked in a rural village in Southeast Zimbabwe?
Yeah, for 6 years, yeah.
That's amazing.
Wow.
And then this is some introduction to what it is. I don't know if you can see that, but there it is.
No, we can't see it.
Oh, that's okay. I won't read it because it's long. I don't want to take up time, but yeah, and basically it's shall we say so much stuff, so much crazy stuff and lies and idiocies are written about Africa, and they don't touch. They never touch the culture, the wonderful, amazing civilization that was Zimbabwe, and that still is carried on in the rural villages there. In fact, I knew some white Zimbabweans, and when I was showing them video of a visit that I made in the 1990s and hung out with my friends, they said that part of the country would just have no clue about what goes on. And basically it's about an uneasy peace and how people have to be decolonized.
Yeah.
Mind. Horrible colonization has happened in my mind. And it's basically two characters, a white farmer and a veteran freedom fighter, and they become friends. And that's the process. And it's lots of drama. And it's
we might have a really interesting episode between some similarities between your work and Adele's.
All right. Well, I'm going to be looking at your stuff, Adele.
Yeah, my work is. I'm doing it right now. I'm actually focusing on. I get South Sudan's issues are coming out of colonialism, because when the British came, they didn't help with infrastructure. They just came, they did their thing and left, and so now the country is. So like in the north, when the Arabs came, they actually stayed and they created infrastructure and they whatever. But then when they colonized the south, there was absolutely no infrastructure. They're only on their first industrial revolution, which is quite sad, and it's 2020. Second industrial revolution, something like that. But they're a little bit behind, so it's interesting just to see what are the effects of it, and then also displacement and how all that plays a part. So
absolutely. Yeah, and actually we have to have a chit chat, Adele.
Yeah, for sure.
There's so much to say.
Yeah, Zoom me anytime. You
Okay.
can get my contact information from Charlotte, and we can talk anytime.
So are you on Charlotte's list there, Adele?
Yeah, but here, I'm going to put in the chat. I'll put my email in the chat. If anybody...
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Well, that would be good. If anybody wants to put contacts or information in the chat, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Okay.
Let me get my magnifying glass. Pardon
Does
me.
anyone
My
else have
magnifying glass. Everything
anything
is,
that they see that they want to share as an idea or topic for next week?
and oh, there's Adele. Good. All right.
Luke, do you have any comments or thoughts to share with us?
No, I mean,
Observations?
this is great. I'm just more impressed that we have 10 of us on at the same time here. I would not have expected so many at this point, but this is great.
And it shows we have been trying to think about, we have been talking about containers and how we would in this year be able to have things we could bring up more frequently, like a couple of times a month. So within this exchange of two different writers and talking about something similar, one of the questions was how in Vancouver are we dealing with issues of colonialism, how are we dealing with word just went right out of my head. Indigenous people, that those two topics actually relate to many places, the effects of colonialism, the after effects of colonialism. There were a group of dancers that talked about from 6 different countries, how that there was the same root reaction to colonialism, and that, you know, for people here to see how does that impact how people live and work together in Vancouver, and helping other people who think, oh, there's no colonialism, to actually understand, you know, how it manifests and, you know, how those issues come up within our society or our life here.
Yeah, let's see, the Book of Negroes, written by Larry, oh, come on, oh, geez, Larry Hill. He totally, through his character, Amata, there's a section of the book where the Black loyalists ran over the border to Nova Scotia and founded Birchtown, and there was a going concern, but of course you had to get the thugs in the bigger town to come and destroy all the African Canadian businesses. You know, these pogroms and just, you know, I don't understand. And the older I get, the less I understand about this craziness. You know, it's just insane. Why do you want to wreck people's business? What? How did, you know? What's it to you? You know. So.
Yeah. It's good, you know, now when people have had the time to reflect on some things. That was one of the other questions. In the way that we're now shut in, we feel like shut-ins, homebound people. Have you had time to reflect? What are some things that you might have had time to reflect on differently?
Yeah.
It's anyone.
Wait, what did you say, Shara?
Now that we are shut in, safe distancing or whatnot, what are some things that you've had more time to reflect on, other than, you know, before when we were in our normal flow of activity?
I think it's how I relate to the people around me now. I think that's something that I realize. I think what I've noticed is that now during this time, I'm wanting to make more of an impact, and trying to I don't know. I've found myself pushed forward to try to do more, and to during this crisis, I found myself in the middle, you know, and trying to be in helping different types of people and finding solutions and support and being supportive. And I never thought that was something that I would be in the forefront of. You know, I've always wanted to help and support people, and I've always tried to find ways, but I guess this crisis, now that we're so apart, it makes there's more of a need to want to be coming together, and an emphasis on community building. And I don't community. I'm an introvert, so I'm always kind of alone. So I've just been so used to just spending time with myself and so now that the world is by themselves, I'm oh, maybe not a lot of people know how to be alone. And so now I'm just oh, maybe I should reach out and start. And so now, as a person who was always by herself, I'm suddenly wanting to be hey guys, let me show you what it's like for people who do this on a regular basis. It's difficult, but it's doable. And just because you're not always with people doesn't mean you're alone, or that doesn't mean you have and I know it can be really frightening to have to be reflective. You know, not everybody is willing to just like get inside themselves. You know, a lot of us run away from ourselves because you don't want to really face the music of some of the, you know. And so now we're forced to be here and to be reflective, and it can be hard for a lot of people. So I think that like that's why when you have this virtual community, you kind of have, you don't have to really be alone, and then you can also like teach each other how to be reflective, and then you also have someone to talk to so that you don't like just get too much into your mind. So I think that's something that I've learned is that like, you know, it takes one person to build a community, but it takes a community to stay together, right? But yeah, that's kind of what I've learned because of this virus.
You're shaking your head, Marika. What about you?
Yes, I totally agree. I'm so happy to join this meeting, but I feel very encouraged, first of all, to see, and everyone is very, trying to be supportive and active and connecting to each other. And also, this podcast and program is ongoing. So this is wonderful thing, and instead of being isolated, and or how can I say it, and feeling down, and when we see something, going on regularly, regular stuff that are going on, we feel very encouraged. And this program itself is very supportive and helpful, program. So I'm so happy, to join this program, first of all. And also, right now, and we have, Adele, how can I pronounce her name? So Adele.
Adele.
Oh yes, yeah. Sorry. So it's difficult to pronounce, but we can have the new people like you, So I'm so interested in this, situation. Of course, it is sort of stressful and difficult, uncertain situation, but we have different learning opportunity. For example, we have never tried this Zoom system before, and we have never encouraged and, inviting people. For example, and even people homebound can join us with Zoom. This is great. And yeah, so, I'm so happy, but I'm concerning about, people. And for example, right now, 411 has another system named friendly calls. So we have 12 volunteers to check up on the phone and and with people who don't have internet or email access. So I am concerning about those people who don't have any technology at home. So yeah, so but anyway, going back to the subject, I'm so excited to see what is going on here and at podcast. Thank you very much.
And I had been wondering whether there's a way to contact the people that are calling those people to let them know. There's some, out of our 44 people, there's only 30 that we have phone number. We have phone numbers for. There are 10 that we don't. So whether any of the people that are calling people could let them know that if they do have internet and want to share it, or if they want to join by just audio, maybe they could walk them through how to join Zoom with just the audio portion. But there isn't a way through Zoom for me to invite them through the calendar. But maybe that's something you could ask people that are calling people, if any of those people would mind sharing their numbers so that we could invite them by phone to join Zoom.
Thank you. So Luke, do you have any ideas? That I have heard of Zoom by phone. So do you have any idea, those people who don't have even, I don't know, I think, they don't have smartphone either. So, they have just landline. Yep. So do you think, I don't know,
there's
how it works
that you can, like people who you can call in. You can just have if you have a phone, you can also listen in on a Zoom call and talk. Like there's a video chat option, but when you send out a Zoom invitation, they'll say like, this is the number, like the phone number for the Zoom call. And then there's the link to the Zoom video chat. So there's those two options, right?
Yeah, no, that's totally right.
Right now, though, when I send the invitation, I'm sending the invitation through Google Calendar. I haven't found a way.
Send it through Zoom. So if you go on Zoom, it'll give you like, you know how like there's a little, like when you get into Zoom, it'll say like join a conversation, create one, whatever. So if you create it directly, so if you send the invitation through Zoom, then it will give you those other links. But if you send it through Gmail, it'll only give you the link for the virtual one.
For the email.
So, okay, so, and even people who don't have Gmail account or, even those people don't have Wi-Fi at home. So they have just landline, home phone. So do they join Zoom with landline?
Yeah.
So sorry, I have to take this phone call. It was wonderful being part of this meeting, and I'm sorry I couldn't contribute more, but I appreciated everything everyone said.
Oh, thank you, Nefertiti. Maybe you can help with letting more people, we gave some flyers out to people of poetic
justice. I have been helping.
To let them know.
I was just wondering, because you said when I got the announcement, you said this was closing at 1:45, but it looks we're going over. Do you know how long it's going to go and what? Because I have to.
Yeah, we're bringing it to a close, but a surprise. There was a little. I don't know whether you saw it. It came up in the screen. A gift from Zoom that they were going to let it go past 40 minutes, because you usually to go past 40 minutes you have to pay $20 a month.
It's a monthly,
Yeah, then you can do a lot more. But
Usually they would
a couple of Zoom meetings that I've been on. The couple of Zoom meetings that I've been on, the person who started it up, they booked in for 30 minutes or whatever it is, and then another 30 minutes right after it. And we didn't even have to get off of Zoom. It just went right into the next 30 minutes. So really? I'm not sure if that continues to work. Yeah, but I'm not sure if that's still working. This was about a week or so ago. I'm sure they're changing all the time.
Okay, so did everyone, I think we got to each person who said what they might want to do next week. Adele, do you have something you want to do next week?
I haven't thought about it yet, but I'm just here. I'm good. I can, what's it called? Even if I don't have anything, I'm good at freestyling. So it's just.
Oh, do you want to give a sample of your freestyle? I was scared to death. I did freestyle with it. I thought, oh my God. But it's a freestyle poetry.
Yeah, so what I do is, somebody give me a topic, I guess, and so a topic or a word.
Very nice. Yeah.
A protein snack.
Okay, I guess a protein is so mean. Sometimes it makes me lean. I'm hiding in between the lines, trying to find my compromise. I need the protein, but I am afraid of meat. So here I am trying to cheat, eating the protein, whey. Oh, hooray, something like that.
Amazing.
Nice.
So yeah.
Very creative.
Yes. Yeah, that's kind of what I do. I mean, sometimes, like for me with poetry, I don't really like need like to sit around and write unless when I'm writing, I need time, like hours and hours to write something proper. But if I'm just doing some poetry, it's easy just to I like to do it off the cuff. It's easier for me because I get really stressed out when I have to try to make things look really organized. It's easier for me to organize in my head. So that's my weird little quirk. So when I'm doing poetry, it's easy for me to just make them up or write them out. And then when I'm having to actually write something that needs to be written, then it's oh shoot, it takes me forever.
Don't worry about it, Adele. Take it from an old English teacher. Look, just write what's in your heart. Leave it for 24 hours. Sleep on it. Forget it. And then the next day, then you correct. Don't spend 8 hours on it.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, I know Brian has got a poem he wants to share, and off the call, I'll have somebody else help me with how do you send the invitation by phone to someone. Because Zoom has some tutorials, but I just haven't been able to send a group message with people with phones, because when you try and send the group message, it won't go out. It's the system is too heavy. So I recorded a 30-second message that I was going to send everybody that had a phone, and I tested it with 3 people, and it just buffered all night. It said sending from 8 o'clock in the night till 8 o'clock the next morning. So maybe someone can show me how to do it, and maybe some other people can help with calling people. If you know somebody, you could give them the link from yours, because this number, I think because I said it's a recurring meeting, it'll always have this meeting number and it will have that password.
Yeah, I think if you could call, I think there's an 800 number or something, but you have from the Zoom, when you set up your meeting, so there are 2 options, right? So one is through email, but the other one is like what Adele said. There's a bunch of the, 800 number something. The people, you can just call them and say, okay, this is the 800 number, you call and the password. You can call them, call people, let them know. Yeah, it doesn't have to send an email, right?
Yeah. We'll get it. We'll get it set up.
Figure it out,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
maybe get a few more people that are calling, but it's about 10.
Can
It may
call,
be the
yeah.
same 10 people that are on the list that the volunteers from 411 are calling, and we could just give them the information to them too to share.
Right.
Okay, well, I have to go, guys.
Okay.
I'm going
It's about time.
Nice meeting you, Adele. And guess
now.
what? I'm going to be emailing you.
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
I'm hearing from you, okay?
Okay.
It was nice meeting you all.
Yeah.
I'll see you all
I
again.
will.
Nice to meet
It's
you.
nice to see you
Nice to meet
again,
you.
Adele.
Nice to
I will
see
send you an
everybody.
email. Okay.
Please, if
Thank
anybody,
you, everyone.
anybody wants to chat or get on a Zoom call, if you're feeling well, just message me. I'm here. I'm working through. I mean, I'm working from home, and because we all are, but I just didn't take any time.
Yeah.
And I'm leaving too.
Pardon
I'm
me?
leaving too, Charlotte.
Yes, we'll all sign off and just say, oh, make the heart
See you next
sign.
week.
Okay.
I can't
Bye,
do this.
everybody.
I cannot do. Okay, the heart. There we go.
Ciao.
Ole.
Hearts to you. Here's a heart, Pat. Okay, love you guys. Have a good
Yeah.
week.
Okay. Have a nice
Talk to you
week.
soon.
Bye.
Stay safe.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
This is Charlotte Farrell and Adele Arope bidding you a wonderful day, and we'll hear you next time.